So, this video is about why I record live. Although, obviously, I'm not able to record live now. If I record live and there's a video of what happened, there's a possibility that one of you will actually care to turn it in. The live videos also help to keep my friends and family safe. Or I should say the people that I care about, because obviously it's a one-way thing. You get to see, like, for example, with the situation with Claire. I've absolutely tried to turn it in, but my efforts don't make any difference because I didn't turn it in with Claire. And Claire's never going to do anything more than talk about it. I know this because everything that she has ever said that she needed my help with, she's just talked about. Everything she's ever said that she was going to help me with, she ended up just talking about. When it comes to us turning it in together, she's only ever talked about it. Instead, she's claimed that she has made calls by herself, and I asked for the evidence. She claimed that she recorded the call with her and Rick Reigenborn, but she never sent any proof of it. The stuff that Claire was saying, if I post this up live on YouTube, people don't like it. Claire, she says, nothing redacted, and I like that. If there's something I'm wrong about, you got the opportunity to prove it. With a lot of the stuff that she's been telling me, yes, yeah, I know the same people at the same services getting the same runaround. Same thing as Francis Torelli. It's not okay. See, what you guys are not paying attention to is that there's plenty of money to go around, but it's not going around. It's not going around. The money that could be helping out people like me, people like Claire, is going to pay employees at a lot of different services. We don't need 10 different services with 10 to 20 people working at each one of them at least that all do nothing because they ain't got no money or claim they ain't got no money. So when we're abused, these guys don't even know how to turn this stuff in. You get to hear in so many conversations with these professionals I'm supposed to be turning this stuff into. They don't know the mandatory reporter laws. They weren't trained in this stuff. They don't care. They have people that come in all the time. I'm in there all the time. Like, at CARE? Yeah. And when I was going to TFCC, I was there an awful lot. I got to hear people's stories and what they're going in there for. So this is what all of the services are told. They're told if we want to harm ourselves or others, then it's okay to call the police or the sheriff. But if other people are harming us, we're supposed to defer. That means they're supposed to pawn us off on someone else. That's what defer means. Send you in another direction. Just pretend it didn't happen. La, 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 la. It's not okay. So, CARE, one of the ladies there, her name is Shelley, is somebody that Claire has talked about quite a bit. But the thing is, she's not turning it in with me. I do make decisions based on people whose stories I know to be true. Or people who I know to be sane. Is Claire sane? Yes, actually. I'd like to say no, but if she does twisted stuff, she knows exactly what she's doing. Also, given the stress that she's been under and having PTSD, there is nothing wrong with her being angry. There is nothing wrong with her expressing anger. There is nothing wrong with her being unhappy about what she's been through or what anybody else in that situation has been through. Those are valid feelings. When you're being blown off and you need help, and you try to explain you need a friend or family to help, and friends or family are, oh, well, why don't you just ignore it? Why don't you move somewhere else? It's not helpful. So recording live keeps my little sister safe. It keeps my niece safe. You get to see the nasty messages that people send me. The things that they're going to do. You know, every time that Alicia Bollinger goes missing, I have to deal with that. I also get to deal with it, well, anytime that I give the phone number out to a wrong person. Like, for example, I can't give my phone number out to the police because they'll put it on a piece of paper and give it to whoever my predators are. It's stupid. They say to put a safe phone number down. And you put a safe phone number down, and the first thing they do is give it to your predator. How screwed up is that? I get abused over other people's mistakes, and I record those mistakes. One thing that people hate more than anything else, when they say, I never said that, and then you play them back a recording of them saying exactly what you said they did. That ended a lot of friendships that weren't actually friendships. Because here's the thing, if you're being physically assaulted, a friend isn't going to refuse to find out what happened and just talk over you and give you advice. Especially, you know, the situation that I'm in is a very serious situation. People do assault me. People do throw stuff at me. I have recordings that I've shown multiple people. You can listen to them. I've actually got a link in a couple of the previous videos to people screaming the N-word at me and screaming anti-LGBT stuff at me. Some of them while assaulting me or attempting to assault me. The weird ones are the ones that scream the N-word at me. But, yeah, I stick up for minorities, so what? I do want to say that technically is somebody who's, I guess they call it asexual. I call it non-sexual. But technically that's part of the LGBT community. But then, of course, what part of the LGBT community? You know, I stuck up for the LGBT community pretty much most of my life. I mean, I grew up in the 80s in the system, so I grew up with all sorts of people. Different colors, different shapes, different sizes, different walks of life. Some of the kids that I grew up with were predators, and some of them were prey. That's how it is. In modern times, we have the ability to record. One of the things that our predators try to do, like, for example, and the men will understand this one if they've ever lived on a farm and had a husband that beat them. What's the first thing they do? Lock you up. What does the cop do? Lock you up. What does your husband do? Takes away your phone. What do the cops do? Take away your phone. What does your husband do? Takes away the keys to the car. What do the cops do? Take away the keys to your car. What does your husband do? Keeps you locked up until all of your bruises have gone away. What do the cops do? Keep you locked up till all your bruises have gone away. What did your husband do? He'll run into town and tell everybody you had a mental breakdown over nothing and you're not answering calls and you attacked him, but he's not willing to press charges. Or maybe he is. In either event, you're resting and you don't want to talk to anybody. Meanwhile, you live miles outside of town, you ain't got no shoes. If you try running away and he catches you, there'll be hell to pay. Now, if you have it recorded and it's not recorded live, there's no way for anybody to look at it, and a public defender is not going to look for it. They don't care. I got lucky because of Deputy Taylor writing on that I was not schizophrenic nor delusional about the Natalie Bollinger situation. Any one of my friends at any point in time could have come forward about that. Any one of these people who claim that they cared about me could have come forward about that, but they didn't. And you get to hear, just like with the Claire Jordan situation, sure, she knows these things. She knows all sorts of stuff, and she talks about turning it in all the time. She never does it, though. The other thing is, border police don't care. She's getting the runaround, and this is a horrible thing to be getting the runaround about. However, like, I have to stay in my tent. If I leave here, I might run into some pleasant people within a couple of blocks, and I might talk to them a little bit. But for the most part, I have a destination I'm going to, and I go straight there, and I come straight back. And even then, I have to deal with, from time to time, those very same things, probably about 1 in every 5 trips or so. And if I whip out my phone and start recording, well, they watch me whip out my phone and they skedaddle out of there. Smart. It's smart, I'll admit that. But it's in violation of a protection order that I very clearly do have. They're not allowed to do those things to me. Now, of course, the DA keeps trying to pretend that everything's a delusion. So nobody investigates. Nobody wants to investigate, and the DA is not going to investigate. He's not going to look at any of this evidence. He doesn't care. Also, there's no way for me to send it to the DA. There should have been. But that's one of the things about, first of all, some of these files being too big and me not having any assistance with that. And that's the big thing right there is, from the very start, I've had this technological imbalance as far as my predators go versus what I have to try to do. I mean, you look at the conditions I'm living in, and I'm glad to have them. And I wouldn't have them if it wasn't for somebody treating me decently and looking at me as a human being and having some faith in me. But he also took a look at some of the situation. Like, he realized it was a true situation, that I was being honest. So, over and over again, I've had to rely on people with a lot of bias and hope that they're going to do the right thing. Because no friend or family member helped me to turn it in, and my instructions are to go to a friend or family member. When I'm given instructions on what to do from there, the friend or family member is there to be a witness, and the recording device is there to make sure that they shoot you straight. If they don't, you go to an attorney. It's that easy. But it's only that easy when you're a homeless man if you have a friend or family member who cares. Meanwhile, I was forced into homelessness because of what happened to Natalie. Now, of course, anybody can look it up, right? But why didn't they? Why didn't these police officers look it up? Why didn't these social workers look it up? Why did they just write delusions? I mean, All the stuff that I've been saying that you guys have been able to see, the A&E stuff, very real. We've got verification from deputies on this channel that it's very real. We've gotten to show you guys verification from deputies in the jail about multiple situations, and there's a lot more. The reason that these guys keep on trying to push the mentally ill thing is because if they can have me pegged as schizophrenic or delusional, then they can take away all of my rights, pretend that everything that I said was a lie, and prevent me from ever being heard and prevent any of my evidence from ever being seen. But I'm posting it on YouTube Live. I had to post it on Facebook Live. Why did I start posting it on Facebook Live? Well, first of all, I was given bad advice. Some of that advice that I was given by police officers helped be used as excuses to pretend that I was stalking people. That's never okay. Those police officers need to be held responsible for the words that come out of their mouth. The things that I did knowingly and out of desperation. You got to see assaults, many assaults on my channel. I gotta try to get it all unlocked and pay a whole bunch of money and try to figure out all that electronic stuff. And by the time I get somebody to help me with that, it's already 6 months down the road. That's a lot of time that's eaten up when you need to turn something in immediately. And that is the help that disabled people need. Whether they're homeless or not, they're still disabled. Whether they're homeless or not, they're still human beings. So why do you pretend that if they're homeless, they must be drug addicts? That they must be schizophrenic? That they must be predators? You let people hurt them until they have a mental breakdown, and then you arrest them for having a mental breakdown. You let people harm them, and when they try to turn it into the police, what happens? You got to deal with street people who hate you because you went to the police, and you got to deal with police who aren't going to do their job anyway because they don't care because you're a homeless person. Why don't you go to mental health? Why don't you go to mental health, get some counseling, go to mental health? Hey, how about before you assume that I'm some schizophrenic, delusional idiot, you look at the videos that I'm bringing to you. I tried to show all of those therapists those videos. The ones that took a look went, well, seems to me you're telling the truth. Duh. I am a human being. Until there is somebody who is actively involved in this and has looked at my paperwork, and when this happens says, hey, he is not schizophrenic, he is not delusional, this doctor, this doctor, this doctor, and this doctor, and their paperwork right here proves it. What are they going to do if I try to show them that? They're going to take it from me, and they're going to put it in my property and evidence, and they're going to tell me that the attorneys can have it, or I can have it when I'm released. And then they tell me that after 30 days, they're going to throw it away. One of the big situations is them repeatedly allowing the police to take electronic evidence that shows evidence of those police officers themselves committing crimes against me. When I was trying to turn in physical assaults, threats, and a lot of other different types of abuse. Financial abuse is a very serious abuse. And if I don't record these things, my predators get away. All they have to say is mentally ill. It's like saying hallelujah. They call me mentally ill. Nobody's going to look. They're going to assume the worst. And I'm going to be punished. And that is how it's been. Without a friend or family member, this is what our life is like. And then we have to deal with trolls who want to harass us over and over and over again. And we're told that these people don't exist. I'm not talking about literal, like, trolls, like Tolkien trolls. I'm talking about people who want to harass you over the internet and harass you in real life as well. The threats against my friends and family, there's lots of people that I showed these threats to, lots of them. Obviously, they're not delusions. I've also proven time and again that there have been literally thousands of restricted calls. Some of them, like, I had 2,000 restricted calls in one day here in Tillamook. There's also videos showing that people have been doing that going back for years. And then there's the psychological evidence there that shows that I am neither schizophrenic nor delusional. After they realized that that wasn't going to fly, all thanks to Deputy Taylor screwing up, that's right, they continued to try to play the delusional thing even afterward, and the DA was so unprepared for me to be found fit to proceed, I believe 6 or 7 times. Every single time. Now, Deputy Taylor is the difference because he verified that the Natalie Bollinger thing was true, and because I had the paperwork, well, they don't get to pretend that I'm schizophrenic and delusional over that because it's been verified by a deputy that it's absolutely true. It was also verified by Deputy Fenwald that it was absolutely true. Both of them more than once. What are all of my previous court cases and court dates and crimes against me ignored over? The delusion by these people that they're going to get away with pretending that I'm delusional over the assaults and threats against my life and why I'm having to deal with those things. Therapy is not going to stop Andrew Wolnez. Therapy is not going to stop Chris Stafford. Therapy will not stop Tim Beeson or Ted Bollinger. These people don't care about a protection order. These people don't care about the law. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care whose lives they destroy. I record live because if I don't record live and I'm arrested, like the last situation, on bogus charges, if it's not live, well, they get to drag it out for 15 months instead of just a couple of weeks. They used the mentally ill thing over and over again, knowing full well that there were all sorts of psychological evaluations showing and verifying that I am neither schizophrenic nor delusional, over and over and over again. And they still continue to proceed. They continue to treat me like I'm schizophrenic or delusional. When I say that I'm trying to turn one of these guys in, you got to see over and over and over again how police officers that I was trying to turn in and sheriff's deputies that I was trying to turn in got to come and arrest me for trying to turn them in. That's not legal. That's retaliation. Scott DaCosta did it with some state patrolmen when I was trying to turn Scott DaCosta in to the state patrolmen. State patrolmen said that it's not their job to, state police. State police said that it's not their job to police the police. That would be, I had turned it into the original agency. Well, that would mean that I have to turn Scott DaCosta, the sheriff, into himself. And obviously he decided that there was nothing wrong with what he was doing. He was running around Chapel, Nebraska, literally telling people that I was schizophrenic. When I was having a mental breakdown during that period of time, It's because of the threats and the violence and the fact that many of my predators were working together. See, Leslie Snell, that's Clint Snell's wife. Clint Snell was implicated as brother Carl in some of the death threats against me, while Carl was trying to intimidate me, along with Chris Kurth. So I tried to turn that in. And I also had to try to turn in the situation once Leslie Snell started working for the sheriff, because I was being told to turn it into that agency, but then Leslie Snell would answer, and instead of allowing me to say anything about the stuff that I was going through, she would just automatically start making excuses. Trying to say that Scott Costa was this, that, and the other. I don't care. I don't care what your opinion of the man is. I'm trying to turn in crimes that were committed against me by the man and his employees. That's what I've been told to do by the state troopers, or state patrol, or sorry, state police. You have to say it right, apparently. But Scott DaCosta ran around lying to people, telling them that I was schizophrenic. And of course, if I say anything other than what Scott DaCosta says, they'll pretend that it must be a delusion because the cops say otherwise. They don't bother to take into account that I was trying to turn in Scott DaCosta and his deputies because they'd been bullying me and pulling this crap for a very long time. I had to try to turn in the abuse and the threats, not just online, but over the telephone as well, and the assaults in real life. And I had to try to turn this into people who wanted to send me to mental health every single time. This is how poor men are treated. This is how men in general are treated if we're abused. If we're being stalked by somebody, if we're being harassed, or go to therapy. How about you do your job? The reason that I record live is in the hopes that they'll do their job. And in the hope that with all of the times where I have stated that I'm trying to turn these people in and I'm following the instructions that I'm being given, I would hope that at least once people would take a look at that and go, well, here it is. Sean said that he was going to go turn this stuff in, and then here he is. He's getting arrested by literally the people he was trying to turn in. Huh. Or Sean is trying to turn in a group of people who have committed crimes against him, and all of those people work together, such as the situation with Scott DaCosta. When I had to try to turn him in, I also had to turn in several other people who were threatening me and assaulting me, destroying my property. I spent 7 months in prison on bogus charges, and they had to drop the charges. Everybody wanted to tell me, oh, you should sue them. You should sue the crap out of them, man. You should sue them. I can't sue them. I can't sue them. I can't take care of myself. I literally can't take care of myself, okay? Sue who? With what money? There's a lot of people who claim that they were going to help me, but they were only going to help me the way that they wanted to, not the way that I needed. The way that I needed is for a friend or family member to take the abuse seriously and help me to turn it in. I needed them to understand that if they don't help to turn it in with me, then my disabilities are going to be used as an excuse to pretend I'm schizophrenic or delusional. No, it's PTSD. You get to see how multiple times where people that I was an a-hole back to would go, oh, I got PTSD, that's not okay. Well, it was certainly okay for you. I have PTSD, diagnosed PTSD. I get disability money for having post-traumatic stress disorder. That's literally what the money comes here for. Yes, I've been diagnosed with Asperger's, but that's not the major issue. The major issue is post-traumatic stress disorder. That's not from the violence that I have to endure. That can be stopped. All that requires is somebody who cares to look at the evidence, realize it's happening, and say, yes, he's telling the truth. This is not a delusion. Now, they refuse to accept my paperwork at TFCC or any of these other places. I've got multiple psychological evaluations, like a lot of psychological evaluations. And they all say I am not schizophrenic and I am not delusional. And all of them, with the exception of one, say that I have PTSD. I've only been diagnosed with PTSD like 17 times that I was able to count. Like, okay, I got PTSD. Yes, I'm well aware. I get disability money for having PTSD. I'm well aware. Well, are you aware that the stuff they're trying to tell you is schizophrenia are actually PTSD trauma reactions? I'm like, yes, I'm very well aware. What I'm saying is that I'm trying to turn this stuff in, and I try to turn it in calmly and collectively, and I get talked in circles, and then get told that I'm talking in circles. And then, of course, by that point, I am overwhelmed like I am now. And it just seems like an obsessive rant to people. Well, that's also a PTSD reaction. That's a very specifically male reaction. That's, I believe, in the top two reactions that men with PTSD have is that when they've been through something traumatic, they tend to ramble. Well, I'm continuing to go through traumatic stuff because once I go outside of that fence, I gotta worry about Wolnez. I gotta worry about Stafford. I gotta worry about the cops. I gotta worry about a lot of other homeless people. I gotta worry about drug addicts. And of course, I gotta worry about people who are pissed off because after they did something wrong, they ended up on my channel. I gotta worry about any number of people who might assault me and play victim. I have to worry about people pulling what Mossum pulled. So the first time he swung that pipe at me was, oh God, it was, well, I know it was April. I want to say somewhere between April 12th and April 20th. I couldn't tell you exactly what day. So then in May, when I was released from jail after 14 days in jail and 5 days in the hospital, where I wasn't allowed to record and I had to go through a lot of abuse, and I had to try to turn it in to the very people who did it to me. I didn't have a public defender or nothing. I record because the recordings show that I'm telling the truth, but without somebody helping me to turn it in, even if they do see it, they can pretend that they didn't see it. These deputies are going to do everything that they can to not investigate any crimes that were committed against me, because if they do investigate crimes and actually do something about it, then it helps lend ear to the fact that I've been telling the truth the whole time. And since I'm claiming they did something wrong, well, they definitely don't want those consequences, do they? Does the DA want to go to prison? No, he doesn't. There's a lot of people who are involved in this. A lot of people who claim to be my friends. Swore up and down they were my friends. Swore up and down they were going to help me to turn this in, and they wasted their time. Through dozens of assaults. And when I try to contact these people, they can't be contacted, and then they want to tell me their whole pity party story. Well, I get it. And if you need help with that, I'm willing to help you. But also, if you say that you're going to be my support, if you say that if there's anything happening to me, if people are assaulting me or